Hello, welcome to more yoga with me, Emily. Thank you so much for joining me today. I had a really peculiar thing happen to me the other day, and I guess I've probably been spending more time on my phone, maybe not as much time doing yoga lately. And I got up from the sofa, I don't know, to go do something. And it wasn't exactly what I would call an out of body experience, but it certainly wasn't an in body experience, and it was really quite disorienting. Like, oh, who am I? What's going on? So that's one thing that yoga is really good, right? At least for that half hour, 45 minutes, however long you're practicing, it's really an in-body experience, right? It's a present experience. And so you get to just be here and not worry about anything else that is going on in your life or in the world, and you get to be connected, mind and body. So my goal today is to just lead a beautiful, easy class that feels good, keeps us present, keeps us out of the mind, and in fact is perhaps easy enough that for a lot of it you'll be able to close your eyes. And of course you can always open your eyes to look and make sure that you can see what we're up to. But hopefully you'll be able to get that really sort of in-body sensation. So let's start lying down on our backs. If that's comfortable for you, if you prefer to sit, then by all means start where you would like to start. And again, depending on how your day's been, you might need to shake things out a little bit. I get a few wiggles out, and you might be flat on your back. Legs could be bent or straight. Right, if the knees are bent, I really like taking my feet mat width apart to let the knees hang in toward each other. Not only does this help sort of put a little bit of pressure on the sacrum so that it releases tension, but it also means that you don't have to sort of use any muscular activation to keep the legs from flopping one way or the other. Or maybe your legs are outstretched. Some of you I know will really like bringing the legs or the sole of the feet together and knees wide, like in a butterfly pose. So wherever you need to go. And then for 3 breaths, inhale deeply through your nose. Exhale, sigh the breath away. A couple more, just like that. And continue breathing however you need to, whether it's in and out through your nose or your mouth. Notice how your breath is flowing, if it feels really open and free, or I don't know about you, but I've got some sticky or choppy spots today, so you might gently try to lengthen through those parts. Just smooth the breath out a little bit more. With every inhale, feel the widening of your rib cage around the floor. With each exhale, a little softening of the front body. And then really focus on your breath. So it doesn't matter if there's a bird chirping at your window or construction going on down the road. The only thing that matters is your breath. And the gentle rise and fall of your belly or chest. Maybe the sound of your breath, like waves or like someone asleep. Last few moments here. At the end of your next exhale, start to bring a little bit of movement back to your body, a little yawn or stretch or whatever you need to do. Anything that feels good. When you're ready, start to draw your knees into your chest and take a little rock from side to side. And you might take one hand to each knee and maybe you start to draw circles with your legs. I like going in opposite directions, kind of like frog legs or the breaststroke, but move however you want to move here. And then maybe start just exploring other movements here, loosening up however you need to. And again, eyes closed if you can, just to keep those external stimuli out of your mind. And then start to reach your legs up to the sky. So your knees can be bent. And in fact, I'd prefer them to be rather than stock straight. And then point and flex the toes or the feet, getting into the ankles. Arms can raise up as well, but let your shoulder blades drape back to the floor. So there's lots of ease here. And you might draw circles with the feet and the wrists. You might start to shake everything like super wild and crazy, and it doesn't matter what it looks like because I guarantee nobody's watching you, right? So just shake it all out like a turtle trying to flip itself off its shell. And we're going to be here kind of an uncomfortably long time. So keep going, keep shaking wild and crazy for another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then pause. And then notice whatever you notice. Feel what you feel. Tingling or vibrations. And then draw your knees back into your chest. A little rock from side to side. Keep holding onto the right knee or shin and bring your left foot to the floor. So your knee could be bent, or you might extend the leg along the earth. And then start to deepen the compression just a little bit on the front of that right hip joint if it feels okay. So drawing the leg in toward you a little bit more. And for the last couple breaths, you might gently curl your nose toward your knee. Make sure that you're not gripping through the shoulders though, that there's lots of space for your neck. And then if your head is lifted, release it back to the floor. And then start to draw the right knee over to your left shoulder. You can even bring your right thumb into the hip crease there. And think of drawing the right hip down and forward to the top edge of your mat. So as much as that knee is traveling across and up, you want the hip to go down and forward. So you get this interesting tension on the outside of the right thigh. And then on your inhale, take that knee all the way out to the right. You might need to wiggle it out a little bit. And then start to draw your right knee back to the back right corner of your mat or of the room a little bit more. Some of you might stay here. Some of you might choose to lift the leg up to the sky, taking a modified sort of half happy baby. You could grab the back of the thigh or maybe reach up for the ankle or the foot. Half happy baby can feel quite intense though, so go easy on yourself, particularly at the start of the practice. Last breath here. And then shake it all out. even wild and crazy, whatever you need to do. And then we'll switch sides again. So right foot comes to the floor. Start to draw the left knee or shin toward you a little bit more. You can interlace your fingers over top of the shin. Some of you might stay here. Some of you would extend the right leg along the floor. It deepens it a little bit, but also gives you a little bit more activation, a little bit more stability here. And then draw that left knee or shin toward you just a touch more. It's that compression on the joints that helps the synovial fluid start to flow a little bit more. Last couple breaths, if you'd like to. Gently curl your nose toward your knee. And then release your head. Start to take that knee over to the right. And again, you might take your left thumb and hook it into the left hip crease, pulling that hip down and forward as much as you draw the knee up and back. And if at any point something is sore or painful, then don't do it. Back out of it. Right? We want a pleasant in-body experience, at least as much as possible. Last couple breaths here. Maybe you close your eyes. And then start to draw the left knee all the way out to the left again. And you might stay here and move a little bit. Eventually start to draw that left knee up to the back left corner of the mat or the room. Again, just a beautiful place to stay. Or maybe choose to kick the foot up to the sky for some variation of half happy baby. Again, it can be quite deep, quite intense, so just go where you need to go. Last couple breaths here. And then slowly, gently release, shake it all out again. And then with your knees bent, bring your feet to the mat and take the mat width apart, or even a little bit wider, depending on how wide your mat is. And then you're going to take both knees without the feet moving, so the feet stay nice and wide. Take both knees over to the right. So we're getting a little bit of a spinal twist here, but you might also be feeling something in the front of that left hip, through the hip flexors or maybe the top of the thigh. If you would like to accentuate that, then you pick up the right ankle and cross it over top of the left thigh, and there we go. It starts to deepen it. Now, if this doesn't feel good, if it feels too much, please don't go so deep. You might start to reach the left arm back and out to the left a little bit, so kind of on a diagonal, so getting into the chest and shoulders. And I've taught this before, you can be really active here, squeezing the bum on that left side to get a deep stretch through the front of the leg, or maybe you just let everything hang in a passive twist, whatever you need. Last couple breaths here. And then slowly, gently uncross the leg if it's crossed over top. Inhale the knees back to center and then take them over to the left. Same thing, just sort of ease your way into it. Right? Play with it, because one side can feel so different to the other. Maybe start to reach that right arm back and out to the right. Maybe you choose to cross the left ankle over top of the right knee or thigh. And then again, maybe it feels good to just be passive here, or maybe you start to squeeze the bum on that right leg. Now we'll lift that right hip up. Last few breaths here. And gently uncross your ankle. If it's crossed, come back to center. Little wiggle, windshield wiper, or shake out the legs. And then some of you might feel great rocking and rolling up and down your spine here. Shoulder blades to sit bones. Some of you might roll to one side and then come up, but eventually make your way to hands and knees. So setting up with knees underneath hips, toes can be tucked or untucked. And then hands outer shoulder width apart or wider, so outer edge of the shoulder in line with the wrist, and then close your eyes if you know what's coming. Inhale, lift the tailbone to the sky, hollow through the lower back, wrap the shoulder blades toward each other, coming into cow. And then exhale, tuck the tailbone under, start to round through your spine, press through the shoulder blades. Inhale to ripple into cow. Exhale, round into cat. So a few more of these undulations on your own time, on your own breath. And if there's any other way that you'd like to move here, please feel free. Wag the tail from side to side. Barrel rolls through the chest. Right. Let your body start to be the guide rather than what your mind is telling you you need to do. Your mind got you here today, got you turning on that video, and now it's time to take a back seat to what your body needs. Last breath here. Okay, and then slowly come back to center. You're going to take your right hand in front of the left hand, still on hands and knees, and then start to send your hips back. And then you might curl the left hips or the hips over to the left a little bit. So you're finding a long line on the right side of the body. One more breath here. And then come on back to center, and then we'll go to the opposite side. Left hand comes in front of the right. Send your hips back and over to the right. And then inhale, come back to center. You're welcome to stay here, moving and grooving through cat and cow. If you wish, some of you might choose to take child's pose with the hips back and then torso toward the floor. Some of you might choose to take downward facing dog, in which case tuck the toes and lift the hips up and back. Make sure the hands are nice and wide. Wherever you are, for 5 breaths, just really feel your body. Notice your breath. Last breath wherever you are. And then if you're in child's pose, come up either to hands and knees or to downward facing dog. Bend your knees, look to the top edge of your mat. Eyes can still be closed. And on your inhale, take as many steps forward as you need to come into standing forward fold. Make sure your knees are nice and bent. Send the hips back a little bit and drape your upper body forward. Now you might want support of your elbows on your knees or thighs. Alternatively, maybe some of you want more traction along the spine, so you can clasp opposite elbows with hands. You could sway a little bit from side to side. Again, just doing stuff that feels good. Nod your head yes. And shake your head no. Let your head hang heavy, neck long. One more breath here. And then release your hands with your fingertips to your shins or blocks or the earth. Inhale, lift up partway. Exhale, let it all go. 2 more. One last breath. And then bend your knees, tuck your chin in toward your chest, head heavy, arms heavy, slowly roll up to standing, 1 vertebra at a time. As slow as you need to go. Keep those knees bent until the very last moment. When you come up to stand, a couple loops of your shoulders up, back, and down. And then simply be here, standing for a couple breaths. And then feel a little hug of the legs toward each other. Tailbone to the earth, slightly belly button to spine, shoulder blades on your back. On your inhale, sweep the arms up to the sky. Maybe follow with your gaze or eyes closed. Exhale, dive or fold down to the earth. Forward fold. Fingertips to shins. Inhale, a little partway lift. Exhale, fold. Charge your legs. Inhale, sweep all the way up to the sky. And exhale, hands to prayer. Same thing, just like that. Inhale to the sky. Exhale, melt to the earth. Inhale, a little partway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up to the sky. Exhale, hands to prayer. One last time. Inhale up. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, a little partway lift, really gentle. Exhale, fold. Charge your legs. Inhale, sweep all the way up to the sky. And exhale, hands to prayer. Inhale to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. So we're adding on or just changing it up a little bit. Inhale, lift up partway. Exhale, fold. On your inhale, step your right leg back and gently release your back knee to the floor or to a chip foam block. And of course, you'll probably need to open your eyes here, even just for a second or two. And then come on up to low lunge. Any low lunge that feels good for you without just hanging out at the bottom. So again, eyes can be closed. Hug the legs toward each other. It's a good challenge for the balance as well. Squeeze the bum on the back leg. No matter if you're up tall or down low, keep the squeeze of the bum. And maybe you reach the arms up to the sky and chill out on the shrug muscles a little bit. Last couple of breaths here. And grab hold of the sky with your left hand. Exhale, sweep the right hand to the earth. Little twist to that front knee. You could be on fingertips, or maybe you have your hand up on a block to give yourself a little bit more space. Wrap both shoulders onto your back, and you might be totally still, or maybe you start to take sweeping shapes with that top arm, mobilizing through the shoulder joint however you need to. Last couple of breaths here. And then slowly inhale, come back up to that little kneeling position, and then shift your hips back as you extend through the front leg for half splits. Hands could be on hips, on blocks, or on the floor, wherever you need to go. And even here, close your eyes right away. If you feel like you have the balance, point and flex the front foot, seeing if maybe rocking the heel, or rocking on the heel rather, side to side feels good. Giving your foot a little massage. And then start to wrap the right hip forward as you draw the left hip back. Little micro bend on that front knee, or even a deep bend. And then peel the front toes back toward your face a little bit more. Getting into the calf muscles. One breath here. And then slowly step forward, standing forward fold. Little wiggle, little sway. And then fingertips to shins or the earth. Inhale, lift up partway. Exhale, let it go. On your inhale, step your left leg back. Release your knee to the floor. With a block and inhale, come up for half lunge or low lunge, I suppose. It's not really half lunge, it's half kneeling. Again, hug the legs toward each other. A little squeeze of the bum on that left leg, but go wherever you need to go, whether it's really active or maybe a little bit deeper. Keep the squeeze of the bum. Maybe you inhale the arms high. Grounding through the front heel will help with the stability a little bit, particularly with eyes closed. Last couple of breaths here. And then slowly grab hold of sky with the right hand. As you exhale, sweep your left hand to the earth or to a block or a pillow. Again, wrap both shoulders on your back, particularly the bottom one. And you might be totally still, or you might start to take big shapes with the top arm, going wherever you need to go. Last breath or two here. And then slowly come back to center. Shift your hips back as you extend through the front leg, half splits. Again, maybe hands on hips, on blocks, or floor, wherever you need to be. Once you've found somewhere that feels stable, close your eyes if you can. And then give that front heel a massage. So point and flex the toes. Rock side to side. Right, you'll notice getting into the shin muscles as well a little bit as we do this. And then start to wrap that left hip forward. Draw the right hip back slightly. Little micro bend on that front knee, belly button to spine. Flare the toes on the front foot. And then peel them back toward your face even more. Last breath here. And then slowly rock forward again. As you inhale, step to the top edge of your mat. Standing forward fold. Inhale, little partway lift. Exhale, fold. Charge your legs. Inhale, sweep all the way up to the sky. And exhale, hands to prayer. Pause here, either hands in prayer or by your side. Couple breaths. Feel whatever you feel. And then bring your hands to your low back or your pelvis, the sacrum, I suppose. Well, sacrum's a bit narrow. Let's try pelvis. Fingertips pointing down. Wrap your elbows, your shoulder blades toward each other. Little bend in that knee. So not even a micro bend, but a proper bend. Belly bend to spine. This might be your standing back bend today. Maybe you start to push the hips forward as you lift through the heart, through the chest. Some of you I know might have a deeper variation, sliding down. Go wherever you need to go today. And then inhale all the way back up to the sky. Exhale, release forward fold. For 3 breaths, inhale, lift up partway. Exhale, let it all go. 2 more. Last one. Bend your knees enough that your palms can come flat to the floor. Step back to plank pose, which might be from your toes, or maybe you're on your knees, whatever feels best. Just a couple breaths here. And then shift the weight forward slightly. Exhale, lower all the way down to the floor. Little wiggle of your hips from side to side. Untuck your toes. Press the tops of the feet into the floor. So much so you feel your kneecaps lift away from the earth. Send your tailbone to the back wall. Feel your belly button engage toward your spine. And then inhale, lift the heart forward to come up. Baby cobra. And exhale, lower back down. Couple more. Hands can hover or come off the mat. And on your next exhale, release all the way down to the floor, one cheek to the earth. Deep belly breaths to release through the lower back. And then gently come back to center. Get the legs active again. Belly button to spine. And then start to bring your forearms to the floor in front of you for Sphinx pose. And you might stack the elbows underneath your shoulders. If that feels a bit too tight on the low back, then you might walk them forward and it becomes less of an acute angle. And then wrap the shoulder blades toward each other. Hug the elbows toward each other. And it's almost as if you're trying to drag yourself forward. So really, really active variation. Back of the neck long, looking down or forward rather than up. Last breath here. And then exhale, slowly release all the way down. Opposite cheek to the floor to balance out your neck. And then roll over to your back. Hug your knees into your chest. Little rock from side to side. Bring your feet to the floor again. And then take the mat width apart again like we did at the start. And a little windshield wiper of the knees, left and right. The last thing before your rest, hug your knees back toward you. Take them wide, so out toward your shoulders or armpits. You might stay here. Some of you might kick the feet up to the sky. You could grab the backs of the thighs, knees still deeply bent. Or you might grab somewhere else along the legs, the ankles, or the feet for happy baby. You could rock a little bit from side to side. And then slowly start to think about where you would like to go for your rest, whether it's flat on your back, legs bent or straight, in Shavasana or a supine butterfly. You could rest on your side or in a seated meditation. There's no rush to get there, but once you've found your pose of rest, for 3 breaths, inhale deeply through your nose. Exhale, sigh your breath away. 2 more. And continue breathing however you need to, whether it's in and out through your nose or your mouth. But let go of all breath control. Let go of all muscle tension or gripping, so that you can simply be here and now. Stay much longer if you can, 5 to 10 minutes. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.